I'm just about to start my workout for today. All I'm using today is a set of dumbbells and my jump rope, but you do not need any exercise equipment whatsoever to follow along with this video. There are timestamps in the description box down below the video, so if you would prefer to just skip straight ahead to the workout, you can go ahead and use the chapter markers to do that. But if you would like to see the exercises briefly demonstrated and explained before we begin, let's go ahead and get into that right now. So first of all, let's just talk about the equipment that I'm using, and I'll tell you what to do if you do not have these pieces of equipment. So starting with my dumbbells, for reference only, these are 10-pound dumbbells. That is a good weight for me. You may need to use something lighter than that. You may need to use something heavier. That just depends on your strength. It depends on your level of fitness. Of course, it depends on what you have available to you, and it also just depends on how hard you are looking to push yourself today. So please consider all of those factors when choosing your weights and make the decision that is best for you. If you do not have dumbbells, a kettlebell will also work. But if you don't have any fitness equipment, just grab a couple of shampoo bottles or water bottles filled with some sort of weight. You can fill them with water if you want. You might be able to make them a bit heavier if you fill them with something like uncooked rice or dried beans or kitty litter, powdered laundry detergent, maybe those little decorative pebbles. If you're taking your workout to the beach or the park or the hiking trail today, you could probably fill them with like sand or dirt, or you could even just look for a big heavy rock. So as long as you can find something that you're able to maintain a secure grip on so that you're not going to drop it and injure yourself or break something and make a mess, and as long as it's not too heavy for you, then pretty much anything can work for weight. So just get creative and use what you've got. My jump rope, I am only using for part 2 of the workout. This workout is going to be split up into 2 parts, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I have Rebecca here with me today. Rebecca is my adorable black jump rope with these cute little white skulls on the handles. If you would like to know where I get my jump ropes, there is a link and a coupon code in the description box down below the video. So click on the link and use coupon code RUDEBECCA to save an additional 10% on your jump rope. So if you have a jump rope and you want to do part 2 with me, grab your jump rope. We're using it today. If you don't have a jump rope, you have a couple of options. First of all, you can just eliminate part 2 of the workout altogether. Part 1 will absolutely work as a standalone workout, as will part 2. So you can do either part 1 or part 2, or you can do both of them with me. But if you do not do part 2 of the workout, you don't need to worry about it because I'm not using my jump rope for part 1. So that's your first option. You can just eliminate part 2 altogether. If you do want to do part 2 with me, then while I'm jumping rope, you can just be doing any other cardio exercise at all. So if you have access to like an exercise bike or a treadmill or an elliptical, something like that, a Stairmaster, you can just hop on one of those while I'm jumping rope, easy. But really you can just pantomime jumping rope. So I always just kind of jog in place like this while I'm jumping rope. You can pantomime jumping rope, or you can just jog in place, that's fine. It doesn't matter. You can jog around the block, up and down the steps, but while I'm jumping rope, you can be doing any other type of cardio exercise. So even if you're doing part 2 with me, you don't need to worry about having a jump rope. Other than that, all I'm using is an exercise mat. You will be more comfortable with something soft beneath you for part 1 at least. So if you have an exercise mat or a yoga mat, that is ideal. But if you don't have a mat, a towel should probably suffice. If you're working out on a carpeted floor or on grass, you may not need anything at all. But that covers all of the equipment I'm using: an exercise mat, a set of weights, and a jump rope if you have one. So now let's just go over the exercises that we're doing, and then I will get into the way the workout is structured, and I'll explain how you can modify the format to accommodate any time constraints you may have, because this workout is going to be on the longer side if you're going to be doing both parts 1 and 2 with me. So for part 1, there are 5 different exercises, and I'm only going to be using one of my dumbbells. So the first exercise we're doing is a squat variation. Just make sure with your squats that your shoulders are back and down. So think about tucking your shoulder blades into your back pockets. That's also going to help you keep your chest lifted nice and high, which is what we want. Then I want you to really think about making sure that your abs are engaged the whole time. So imagine someone's about to come along and punch you as hard as they can in your stomach, and you're bracing for that impact. That is how tight I want your abs. And the last thing I want you to think about before squatting is hinging at the hips. Think about pushing your booty back like you're trying to touch the wall behind you with your booty. At the same time, keep those shoulder blades tucked into your back pockets. Remember, your chest is lifted nice and high. So while you are trying to touch the wall behind you with your booty, I want you to also think about trying to touch the wall in front of you with your chest. The point is to elongate your spine. So by pushing your booty back, you're keeping the weight in your heels. Do you see I can actually pick up my toes? And by keeping your spine elongated, trying to touch the wall in front of you with your chest, you are also helping to maintain that flat back that you want for the squat, okay? So think flat back, weight in the heels. And from here is where you can sink down into your squat. Then you'll press your heels into the ground to stand. So that's just a basic air squat. Let's put it all together. Tuck the shoulder blades into the back pockets. Shoulders are back and down, chest is lifted high, abs are tight. Before you squat, you hinge at the hips, push the booty back stays flat, weight stays in the heels, come down into your squat, and then press your heels into the ground to stand. So I will be doing that whilst holding on to my 10-pound dumbbell. So I'm going to hold my dumbbell thusly with one hand on either side, and I'm going to start with my dumbbell right in front of my hip flexors like this. As I come down into my squat, I'm going to lift the dumbbell straight up in front of me, using it as a counterweight. And as I press my heels into the ground to stand, I'm going to return to my starting position so that the weight is in front of my hip flexors again, or in front of my thighs maybe. From here, I'm just going to lift the weight up overhead and bring it back down. Okay, so it's a counterweight squat plus an overhead arm raise. So make sure you're not swinging the weight around, okay? You're not using momentum. The movement should be under control. And the first time you lift the weight in front of you, using it as a counterweight for the squat, you're only trying to lift your weight to about shoulder height. So make sure as you're squatting that you're not lifting your weight up all the way. We're doing that after the squat, okay? So as you're coming down into your squat, you're lifting the weight just up to about shoulder height. And then you're going to lift it up overhead and bring it back down, okay? So make sure there's a soft bend to your elbows. Don't lock out your elbows, and make sure the movement's under control. But it's a pretty simple squat variation, and that is my squat variation. You really can do any squat variation you want, and you really don't need to include weight. You can do your squat variation without holding onto a dumbbell. That's fine. Just make sure you're minding your form, so think flat back, weight in the heels. But that's my first weighted exercise. For the second, third, and fourth exercises, I'm going to be down on my mat. So exercise number 2 is going to be a reverse crunch, and I'm adding this lat pull. So it's very similar to the movement we just did with that overhead arm raise. So I'm going to be starting down here on my mat, on my back, and I'm going to be holding my dumbbell the same way I was holding it for my squat variation. I'm starting with the dumbbell up over my head. My legs are extended straight. Now, before you do your reverse crunch, what I want you to do is pay attention. If you just following the instructions so far and you're just lying here relaxed, there should be space in between the small of your back and the mat, because there's a curve in your low spine, right here. So you see I can slide my hand underneath here. We want to get rid of that for our reverse crunch. So you do that by tilting your pelvis forward. Think about pressing your low back into the mat. Do you see when I do that I can no longer get my hand underneath here? There's no space between my low back and the mat. That is going to help you really engage your lower ab muscles and activate that deep core, which is what we're working with this exercise, okay? So make sure throughout the course of this exercise that you're continually thinking about pressing your low back into the mat. And all you're going to do is crunch your knees in towards your chest and then extend the legs straight. So if you do not want to add weight to this exercise, you can just do reverse crunches. Just crunch the knees in, extend the legs straight. I'm going to be doing that, but every time I crunch my knees in, I'm going to be doing this lat pull. So I'm bringing the weight up and over, and then returning to my starting position. So as I do the reverse crunch, I'm engaging my back, my upper back, to lift the weight up and over, and bring the weight as close to my ankles as I can get it, and then reverse the movement, okay? So If you don't want to include the lat pullover, you can just do reverse crunches. That's absolutely fine, but I'm going to be adding that lat pullover. For our third exercise, we're doing 2 ab exercises in a row because I want you to see me cry today, I guess. So for our third ab exercise, it's a sit-up with a bicep curl. So again, if you want a body weight option here, if it gets too taxing holding onto the weight, or if you just don't want to add weight to your workout, you can do this without any added weight. You can just do regular sit-ups. So starting on the mat with your knees bent, feet flat on the mat, just sit up. I always add this little reach at the top of my sit-up. If you would prefer to have your arms crossed in front of your chest or your fingers behind your ears, that's fine. Any sit-up variation you want to do really is fine, with or without weight. I'm just going to be adding a little bicep curl. So again, I'm holding my weight the same way I held my weight for the first 2 exercises, one hand on either side of the dumbbell. So as I sit up, so I'm starting with my weight, again, in front of my hip flexors like this, and as I sit up, I'm just going to curl the weight up to my shoulders and then reverse the movement, come back down and return to my starting position with control. So sit up and curl, reverse the movement. So just bending my elbows and bringing the weight up towards my shoulders, okay? So the addition of the little bicep curl can be optional. You can eliminate it altogether, or if you start this part 1 of the workout adding weight to these first 3 exercises and it just gets too taxing and you need a break, you can always drop the additional weight and do the body weight versions of those 3 exercises that I just showed you. But for this 4th exercise, well, I'll show you an equipment-free modification for this one as well. So I'm just going to be moving my dumbbell from one side to the other. I'm going to come up into a plank pose and then just move my dumbbell back and forth. So you really can do any kind of plank exercise you want. We'll get into the equipment-free modification in just a minute. Let me show you what I'm doing first. So we'll begin by going over the proper form for your plank. The point with your plank is you want your body in one perfectly straight line from your heels all the way to your shoulders. So you want to be thinking 3 things. Number 1, these are your little bullet points. Number 1, you want to be thinking head in line with the spine. Number 2, you want to be thinking shoulders away from the ears. And number 3, flat back. Okay, so when I say head in line with the spine, this is what I'm talking about. Do you see how I'm sitting here? Imagine that you're standing with your back up against the wall and just gently press the back of your head into the wall. That is where you want your head to be, and that's where you want your head to stay. So as you are up here in your plank, do your best to make sure that you're not allowing your head to drop down like this. You do not need to overcorrect by hyperextending your neck and jutting your chin out. You just want your head in line with your spine. The second bullet point, shoulders away from the ears, this is what I'm talking about. So if you find that you're kind of sinking down into your shoulders, the way to fix that is to press the ground away from you. Push yourself up as high as you can in your plank pose. And your third bullet point is flat back. So if you find that your hips or your belly are kind of drooping down towards the mat like this, causing an arch in your back, you want to get rid of that by lifting your hips high and keeping them lifted high. And you do that by engaging your abs. So again, imagine someone's about to come along and punch you as hard as they can in your stomach and you're bracing for that impact. Really tighten up your abs. Use your ab muscles to lift your hips high and keep them high. That's going to help you to achieve that flat back that we're looking for. So once your body is in one perfectly straight line from your heels to your shoulders, all you're going to do is pick up one hand, reach across, grab your dumbbell, and drag it over to the opposite side of your mat. Then return to your starting position. That's it. It's super simple. Then you'll repeat that on the other side. So pick up the opposite hand, reach across, grab the dumbbell, move it to the other side, okay? So just moving the dumbbell from one side of your mat to the other. Super simple. If you're using a really, really heavy dumbbell or a kettlebell, you can drag it instead of picking it up to move it. You can also do this exercise with a sandbag or something similar. I love my sandbag for this exercise. So if you have a sandbag, that's a great option. If you don't have a sandbag, you can probably fashion something similar to a sandbag. if you have a backpack or a duffel bag that you can fill with some sort of weight, like again, big bags of like beans or rice or kitty litter or dog food, something like that. So get creative and use what you've got. Any kind of weight that you can drag from side to side will work. So you could even use like a jug of laundry detergent or something like that. But if you do not have anything at all that's going to work for weight, or you just don't want to add weight to the workout, you really can do any plank exercise you want. So with this particular plank exercise, I'm balancing on one arm, so I would recommend something like maybe Santana planks. You could just rotate into a side plank on one side, and then rotate into a side plank on the other side for your next rep. You could do shoulder taps, so you could just pick up one hand at a time and tap the shoulder on the opposite side. That's fine. Any kind of plank exercise where you're balancing on one hand is going to be pretty similar to what I'm doing. If that's too difficult, then you can do a different plank exercise that doesn't require you to balance on one hand. That's fine. So you could do like knee tucks or something like this, either out towards your shoulders or straight in towards your chest. That would work. All right, any kind of plank exercise will work. You could do booty spank planks, one of my favorites. So lifting up one hand, extend the arms straight out in front of you, then up and over, spank your little booty, reverse the movement. Very similar to the Santana planks, but working the upper back a little more. So any kind of plank exercise with or without weight will work really. So that is our fourth exercise. For our fifth and final exercise, this is the only one where you really are going to need something to hold onto for weight, but we're working triceps. So any way you want to work your triceps is fine. So you can substitute with a different exercise. So let me show you what I'm doing, and then I'll show you an equipment-free modification if you want a bodyweight alternative so that you don't have to add weight to the exercise. But we're doing tricep overhead presses. So all you're going to do, again, holding my dumbbell with one hand on either side of the dumbbell, I'm going to start with the dumbbell overhead like this. And from here, I'm just going to bend my elbows, lower the dumbbell behind me, and then reverse the movement. Press the weight back up overhead. Super simple. So what you want to think with this one, first of all, make sure that you're really pressing your feet into the ground. You want to start by engaging all of the muscles in your lower body so that you are strong and stable from the ground up. Okay, so think about pressing the ground away from you with your feet. Imagine roots growing out of the bottom of your feet into the ground like you're a tree, okay? Engage all of the muscles in your feet, your legs, your quads, your glutes, your core, okay? So again, tight abs. Imagine someone's about to punch you in the stomach. You're bracing for that impact. Tuck your booty underneath you. Remember when we were lying on the mat for our reverse crunches and we were tilting the pelvis forward, pressing that low back into the mat? This is similar, okay? You want your core engaged, so you do that by pressing your feet into the ground, activating all the muscles in your feet through your legs, your booty, and then tilting your pelvis forward. Tuck that booty underneath you. Abs are super strong and tight and engaged, okay? Then, what's going on up here, I want you to think about the insides of your elbows staying glued to your temples. You are hinging at the elbows. So this is what I mean when I say that. You're here, this is your starting position. So I don't mean that my elbows are literally like touching my head. That's just the visual you want to have, okay? There's space in between the insides of my elbows and my temples, to be clear. The point that I'm trying to make is that you are only hinging at the elbows. So as you drop the weight behind you, the goal is that this part of your arm from your shoulder to your elbow does not move. You want this to stay perfectly stationary. So you're hinging at the elbow to drop the weight behind you, and then again, hinging at the elbow to press the weight back up overhead. But as you bring the weight behind you, you do not want your elbow to also go behind your temple. You want your elbow to stay right where it is. And as you're straightening your arms and pressing the weight back overhead, you do not want your elbow coming in front of you. Your elbow should stay right here the entire time. So think about your elbow, the insides of your elbows being glued to your temples. And as you drop the weight behind you, you're just hinging at the elbow so that from your shoulders to your elbows is remaining perfectly stationary. All right, and that's it. That's all 5 exercises that we are doing in part 1. So before we move on to part 2, let me explain the format for part 1 so that if you are not doing part 2 with me, you can just skip over the tutorial for part 2. Use the chapter markers to skip ahead to the warm-up, and then you can just do the warm-up with me, do part 1, and then make sure you're using the chapter markers to skip over part 2 if you're not doing it. Do the bonus burpee with me, and then stick around and do a quick little cool down with me, okay? So again, just use the chapter markers to navigate to whatever portion of the video is relevant to you. But part 1, it's a very simple format. We are doing those 5 exercises in that order that I just showed you. And we are doing as many rounds of the circuit as we can during a 15-minute countdown. So we are going to set a timer to count down 15 minutes. Then we are going to start with our squats. We're doing 5 reps of squats. Then we're coming down on the mat for abs. We're doing 10 reps of our reverse crunch with a lat pullover, with or without lat pullover. Then 15 reps of our sit-up variation. So I'm doing a sit-up with a bicep curl. You can do any sit-up variation you want, 15 reps. Then we're gonna flip over into our plank pose, 20 reps of whatever plank exercise you're doing. I'm doing my lateral dumbbell pull, moving my dumbbell from side to side. You do whatever plank exercise you want, 20 reps. And then we're finishing with triceps. So 25 reps of whatever exercise you're doing to work your triceps. I'm doing a tricep overhead press. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, okay? 5 reps of the first exercise, then 10 reps of the second exercise, 15 reps of the third exercise, 20 reps of the fourth exercise, 25 reps of the fifth exercise, and then you're just going to repeat that as many times as you can before your 15 minutes is up, okay? So that's part 1. It's going to take exactly 15 minutes. Before we move on to part 2, I forgot I was going to show you an equipment-free modification to work triceps if you are not adding weight to the workout. So instead of your tricep overhead press, so if you don't have a kettlebell or a rock or a household item like a bottle of water or a shampoo bottle filled with some sort of weight, or maybe a jug of laundry detergent, okay? You have nothing at all that's going to work for weight, or you just don't want to add weight, you can do tricep dips. I think that's going to be your best bet. So you can do these off of a chair or an ottoman or an exercise ball or your couch, a park bench, any strong, sturdy, stable, elevated surface that you can use to elevate your hands onto. But you really can also, if you need something that's completely equipment-free, if you're in the middle of the park or the beach and there's no benches anywhere and you need something you can do without any equipment whatsoever, then you can do them on your mat, okay? So you can come down here on your mat, feet are flat on the mat, and your hands are flat on the mat just behind you with your fingers pointing forward. My fingers are pointing towards this wall that's in front of me. From here, you're going to press your heels into the mat, press your palms into the mat, and lift your hips up as high as you can. Imagine trying to touch your hip flexors to the ceiling. And then from here, you're just going to bend your elbows and lower your booty down towards the mat, press it back up, okay? Now, you're lowering your booty down, but I don't want you to think of just dropping your booty down. That's not the movement. We're working triceps here, and I can do that without even bending my elbows. What you really want to be trying to do is this. Think about trying to lower your elbows down to the mat. You won't get there. Before you get there, your booty's gonna touch the mat, but this is what you're working towards. This is what the movement actually is. So from here, you're not just lowering your booty down. That's just kind of like a byproduct of what you're actually doing. You're actually bending your elbows and trying to touch your elbows to the mat, okay? And then engaging your triceps to push yourself back up. All right, so that is an equipment-free option for the 5th and final exercise. So now, if you don't have any exercise equipment, you have 2 options. You can either use a household item like a water bottle or shampoo bottle, or a rock if you're taking your workout to the beach or the park or the hiking trail, or you can eliminate the added weight. You have completely equipment-free modifications for all 5 exercises now. All right, so that is the format for part 1. 5 exercises. 5 reps of the first exercise, then 10 reps of the second exercise, 15 reps of the third exercise, 20 reps of the fourth exercise, 25 reps of the fifth exercise, Repeat that as many times as you can with good form in 15 minutes, and that's it. That's part 1. If you are continuing on with me and doing part 2 is super simple. There's just 2 exercises, and one of them is jump rope. So you can do any style of jump rope you want. I always just kind of jog in place like this while I'm jumping rope. But of course, if you're more comfortable jumping with your feet together, that's fine. Jump with your feet together. You can do any style of jump rope you want. So if you're really skilled at jump rope, feel free to do something more challenging. You can do high knees or jump rope jacks or a boxer shuffle. You can jump side to side. You can do twist jumps. You can mix it up. Just freestyle. It doesn't matter. You don't have to stick with the same style of jump rope the entire time. The only important thing is that we are counting revolutions of the jump rope. So we are doing sets of 200 with the jump rope. So that means we're counting 200 revolutions of the rope. That's one set. Okay, so it doesn't matter how you're getting over your rope. It only matters that there's 200 revolutions happening. Okay, so if you do not have a jump rope, you can pantomime jumping rope. So if you prefer to jump with your feet together, you can just do this. You can just pantomime jumping with your feet together. If you prefer to jump rope the way I do, you're really just kind of jogging in place. So you can do this, that's fine. But if you're doing that, I don't think you really need to necessarily pretend to be jumping over a rope. So you really can just jog in place, and you can just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're in really great shape and you have excellent stamina and you want to increase the difficulty level, you could do high knees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, or jumping jacks or something like that. The other thing you could do, so really any exercise, any cardio exercise, you could do toe taps, like on your dumbbell maybe, or on a low chair or a stool, and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. That's another option. But any kind of cardio exercise you want, mountain climbers would work, any kind of cardio exercise you want that you can do sets of 200 of will work, okay? So that's one option. The other thing you could do is this. Each jump rope section, I'm doing 2 sets of 200. So each jump rope section is going to take me plus or minus about 4 minutes, let's say. So what you could do while I'm jumping rope is just substitute with 3 to 5 minutes of any kind of moderate paced cardio exercise you want. So if you're going to be doing something like jumping jacks, for example, it's going to take a lot longer to do 200 reps of jumping jacks than it is to do 200 revolutions of the rope. So it might be a bit much to do 2 sets of 200 jumping jacks. That would take you a lot longer than what 2 sets of 200 with my jump rope is going to take me. So you could do jumping jacks just for the same amount of time that I'm jumping rope. So you wouldn't be counting your reps necessarily. You would just be doing it for the same amount of time I'm doing it, or you could set a timer for 3 minutes or 4 minutes or 5 minutes and do jumping jacks for that amount of time. You could also hop on the exercise bike or the treadmill or elliptical, Stairmaster, if you have something like access to something like that. 3 to 5 minutes on the elliptical or the exercise bike or the treadmill while I'm jumping rope, that will absolutely work. You could also, if you have access to the field at your local high school, maybe jog around the track once or twice around the track. That's another option. Or you could do up and down the bleachers, or if you have stairs in your home or your apartment complex. Or again, if you're taking your workout to the beach or the park or the hiking trail and there's steps there, up and down the steps is another great option for 2 to 4 minutes, let's say. All right, so any kind of moderate paced cardio exercise you want to do while I'm jumping rope will absolutely work. But I'm going to be doing 2 sets of 200. And then in between each of my jump rope sections, I'm going to be doing espressos. So an espresso is really just a burpee variation. So if you did part 1 of the workout with no added weight and you want to do part 2 with me, but you don't want to add weight, literally any burpee variation you want to do is fine, with or without a push-up. It doesn't matter, okay? So there are a million different burpee variations. Pick any burpee variation you want to do and do that. That's your equipment-free modification. I'm going to be doing what I call espressos because this is an exercise I learned from my friend Sarah, and she called them espressos, so that's always been what I've called them. That's what they are to me. If you don't know if you follow my workouts regularly, you already know what an espresso is. You can just skip this part of the tutorial. But if you do not follow my workouts regularly and you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say an espresso, but you do know what a man maker is, these are essentially man makers, but I like this exercise better. It's a little bit different, and I don't like the name man maker. So we're doing espressos, but it's essentially the same. So if you know what a man maker is, it's essentially the same thing. So I'm going to be doing a push-up on my dumbbells. Then we're doing 2 plank rows. Then we're gonna jump the feet in, stand. We're gonna do a hammer curl plus an overhead press, okay? So when I say a hammer curl, this is what I'm talking about. When we do a regular bicep curl, my palms would be facing forward. When you're doing a hammer curl, your palms are facing each other. So think about the way you would swing a hammer. That's the grip you have on your dumbbells. And from there, you're just curling the weights up towards your shoulders. So my palms are still facing each other. Then I'm gonna press the weights up overhead, bring them back down with control, and then straighten my elbows, bring the weights back down to my side. So that's a hammer curl. Other than that, it's really just a push-up that we're adding to that. We're starting from a standing position. So I'm holding my weights to my sides, palms are facing each other. So in order to get down for our push-up, we're going to bend down, place the weights on the ground, and then you can jump or step your feet back so that you are in a plank pose. And then we're just going to do a push-up while holding onto the dumbbells. Now we're doing 2 plank rows. So one at a time, I'm going to row the weight up towards my shoulder. Now the other side. And now jump or step the feet in. Stand, bring the weights with you. And then hammer curl, overhead press. Okay, so for this exercise, it is significant that I'm using hex dumbbells, which means that they're shaped like a hexagon here on the end, and that means that they're flat on the bottom. Some dumbbells are rounded, except for they have a flat spot on the bottom. As long as you have a flat bottom, not this, I have a little bit of a flat bottom. I'm working on it, give me a break. But as long as you have a flat bottom on your dumbbells, then you can use them the way I'm using them. But if your dumbbells are completely rounded on the ends, then I would prefer that you modify this exercise slightly so that when you are in your plank pose, you always have at least one hand flat on the floor of the ground. So this would also apply if you are using household items for weight, like water bottles or shampoo bottles. Here is a modification that I would like you to apply if you are using anything other than dumbbells that are flat on the bottom. Okay, so if you're holding on to rounded dumbbells or water bottles or shampoo bottles, here's your modification. Bend down, put the weights on the ground in front of you, let go of them. Hands flat on the floor of the ground inside your dumbbells. Now jump or step your feet back so that you're in a plank pose. You're going to do your push-up with both hands flat on the floor of the ground in front of you. And then one at a time, you're going to do your plank row, but as you pick up one weight, the other hand stays flat on the floor of the ground. Row the weight, put it down, let go. Both hands flat on the ground, and repeat that on the other side. So you always have at least one hand flat on the floor of the ground for stability. So you'll row the other weight and then let go of it. Put your hand flat on the floor of the ground. Jump or step the feet back in. And now the rest of the exercise is the same. Pick up your weights and stand, hammer curl, overhead press, return to your starting position. So let's put that all together so you see what the modification looks like when it is applied in real time. Weights down, let go. Hands flat on the floor of the ground. Jump or step the feet back. Push up. Row with one hand flat on the ground. Repeat that on the other side. Let go. Hands flat on the ground. Jump or step the feet in. Stand, pick up the weights. Hammer curl, overhead press. All right? So that is your modification for rounded dumbbells, or if you're using household items for weight. So just make sure whatever burpee variation you're doing, if you are including a push-up, whether you're holding onto the dumbbells for your push-up, whether you're doing your push-up with your hands flat on the floor of the ground, whether you're doing your push-up with your knees down or from your toes, make sure you are minding your form. So everything we went over for our plank exercise earlier, head in line with the spine, shoulders away from the ears, flat back, is going to apply here. Once you have achieved that beautifully perfect plank pose and your body's in one gorgeous straight line from your heels all the way to your shoulders, or if you're putting your knees down for the push-ups, your straight line will be from your knees to your shoulders, but just make sure nothing moves. So make sure that you are maintaining that perfect plank pose while you do your push-up. So you're just going to bend your elbows and lower your chest as close to the ground as you can without breaking that straight line, and then press yourself back up. So you are trying to get your chest as close to the ground as you can without breaking that straight line. So if you need to shorten up your range of motion, that's fine. If you can't get your chest all the way down without breaking that straight line, make sure you're not compensating by lowering your hips or your belly to the ground. Make sure you're not compensating for the fact that you can't get your chest all the way down by lowering your forehead to the ground. Okay, shortening up your range of motion is fine. It doesn't really matter how close to the ground you get your chest. What does matter is that you're keeping your body in one straight line. So just mind your form on the push-up. And then for your rows, all you're doing is bending your elbow and lifting the weight up towards your rib cage. And control the movement on the way down. So make sure that you're not just allowing the weight to drop down. Okay, you want to control the movement on the way up, control the movement on the way down. You also want to do your best to keep your hips square to the ground. So keep both of your hips facing the ground as you do those plank rows. So here's what I mean when I say that. As I'm rowing the weight, it's going to be tempting because you are going to need to shift your weight to the opposite side. So what's going to tend to happen is that your hips are going to open up so that your hips are kind of facing this wall over here. You want to do your best as you're rowing one weight to keep your hips facing the ground. So as opposed to something that looks like this, which isn't bad, it's not wrong, you're not going to injure yourself doing that, so don't worry about it too much. But what we're trying to do with this particular exercise is something that looks more like this. Okay, so as opposed to this, where my hips are opening up, I'm doing this, where my hips are staying more or less square towards the ground. Okay, so do your best. As you fatigue, as I fatigue, you'll see my hips open up more and more. Like I said, it's fine. You're not going to hurt yourself, so don't worry about it too much, but really do your best to see if you can isolate that movement while you're doing those plank rows with the dumbbells. But that's it. I think that covers everything there is to know about espressos. So I've showed you your modification. Let me show you what it looks like the way I'm doing it, all put together. So you're going to place the weights down, jump or step the feet back, push up, row, row, jump or step the feet in, stand, hammer curl, overhead press. That's one espresso. All right, and that's it. That's all we're doing for part 2. So part 2 is not going to be timed, but I can guarantee you it's going to take longer than 15 minutes. It probably take longer than 30 minutes. Even if you're in excellent shape, I would say to budget at least about 30 minutes for part 2, because part 2 is going to consist of a total of 2,000 revolutions of the jump rope. And even if you're in excellent shape, I just don't think you can get that many revolutions done in less than like 15 minutes, let's say. It'll take me more like 20 minutes for reference, just the jump rope sections alone. It's going to probably take me a total of at least 20 minutes. We are also going to be completing a total of 50 espressos. That's a tough exercise, and even if you're really strong, you have excellent stamina, and you can go really, really fast, it's just not an exercise. We're doing sets of 10, and it's not an exercise that you can really do super quickly. Even if you do it very quickly, 50 espressos, there's no possible way, I think, that you can do a total of 50 espressos in less than like 8 to 10 minutes, let's say. So if you add all of that up, if you're in super duper phenomenal shape and you take no rest breaks, I still think it's physically impossible to finish part 2 in under like 25 to 30 minutes. So it's going to take me longer than 30 minutes for sure. I'm just telling you this as a reference so that you know when you're budgeting your time, if you have time to do part 2 with me. You can always reduce the amount of reps that we're doing. So instead of sets of 200 with the jump rope, you could do sets of 100 with the jump rope, or sets of 50. Instead of doing 2 sets of jump rope with each round, you could do 1 set. Instead of doing sets of 10 espressos, you can do sets of 5. I'm going to be doing 5 rounds. So instead of 5 rounds, you could do 4 rounds or 3 rounds or 2 rounds. So the amount of reps of each exercise that you do, the amount of sets you do, the number of rounds you do, that's all up to you, okay? But I just want you to have a realistic idea in mind of how long it's going to take. Part 1 is going to take exactly 15 minutes regardless of how strong you are, regardless of how fast you're moving, regardless of what kind of shape you're in. It's a 15-minute AMRAP, so it's going to take exactly 15 minutes. Part 2, more than 30 minutes, I would say. How much longer than 30 minutes? That depends on your strength and your level of fitness, and it depends on how long of a rest break you need, how fast you're moving. So I just want you to have a realistic idea in mind of how long it's going to take though. But my part 2 is going to look like this. I'm going to do 2 sets of 200 with my jump rope, and then 10 espressos. And I'm going to do that a total of 5 times. Okay, so it's going to be a total of 2,000 revolutions of the jump rope and a total of 50 espressos. That's my part 2. It's going to definitely take me longer than half an hour. I'm going to try to keep it as close to 30 minutes as I can, but it will be longer than part 2. So again, just part 2 absolutely works as a standalone workout, and it would be a phenomenal workout. If you're looking to do like a plus or minus a 30-minute workout on any given day, I think just doing part 2 is a great idea. But I'm going to be doing both parts 1 and 2, so the whole workout is probably going to take me a little over an hour. I'll try to keep it as close to an hour as I can, but I will definitely need a rest break in between part 1 and 2, and I'm definitely going to need rest breaks during part 2. It's not something I'm going to be able to like plow through. I'm not there yet with my stamina, so I'm going to budget plus or minus an hour for this workout for myself. That's it though, that's the workout. We've gone over the format for part 1, that's the format for part 2, so that's how everything fits together. Hopefully that is all clear. If you have any questions about the workout, about the format of the workout, how it all fits together, about how you can customize the workout and modify the format to accommodate your strength, your level of fitness, your access to equipment, any time constraints you may have. If you have questions about the exercises that we are doing today, if you have any doubts about how to do these exercises with the correct form, or if you need any further help with equipment-free substitutions or beginner modifications beyond what I have already provided, I am always here to help. So please ask questions if you have them. It's really important that you understand how to do the exercises correctly before you begin the workout, so that you reduce your risk of injury, and also just so that you make sure you're getting the maximum benefit out of each exercise. And I hope you guys know by now that it is incredibly important to me that all of my workouts are always accessible to anyone and everyone who wants to do them with me. So I am always here to help facilitate that. Please do not hesitate to reach out if you have questions or if you need help. I also want to remind you, especially if you're going to be working out along with the video, to please make sure that you are going at your own pace and minding your form. So again, if you are in super great shape, you're really strong, you have excellent stamina, you are 100% going to be faster than I am, and that is wonderful. Be faster than I am, as long as you are not losing anything off of your form to get there. If you're capable of going faster than I am without losing anything off of your form, I want you to push yourself. I want you to be faster than I am. But if you are racing to stay ahead of me for whatever reason, maybe you're competing with me and you want to beat my score, or maybe you have just set a really ambitious time goal for yourself that you're chasing, and your form starts to get sloppy, that means you need to slow down. And to be clear, I'm not discouraging either of those two things. I'm not discouraging you from competing with me. I'm not discouraging you from setting an ambitious time goal. I think both of those things are wonderful if they work for you and if they're beneficial. What I'm saying is that if for any reason you are racing to stay ahead of me and your form starts to get sloppy, you will need to slow down. And if you're racing to keep up with me and your form starts to get sloppy, just slow down. So don't worry about keeping up with me if it is causing your form to get sloppy. Never sacrifice your form for speed. If you're slower than I am, fantastic. Be slower than I am. Work to your own level, go at your own pace. As long as you got your little booty dressed and you are out here with me today, putting in the work, and you're doing the reps, and you're minding your form, that's all that matters. Don't worry about how fast you're going. If you find that you are racing to keep up with me and your form starts to get sloppy, just slow down. It is always going to be safer and more effective to slow down and do fewer reps with excellent form than it is to race through and do lots and lots of sloppy reps. So please be smart, be safe, listen to your body, make sure that you are going at your own pace, make sure you're minding your form, and also make sure that you're working to your own level. So that means choosing dumbbells or a kettlebell or household items that are an appropriate weight for you. It might mean dropping down to a lighter weight or eliminating the added weight altogether. It might mean putting your knees down for the push-ups. It might mean doing fewer reps of espressos or burpees or shorter sets of jump rope. It might mean shortening up your range of motion for the squats. So please just apply whatever modifications you need to in order to protect yourself. I want you to be safe. So again, be smart, be safe, use your common sense, listen to your body, make the decision that is best for you, and just do your best. Please remember that your best is always good enough, so let your best be good enough. Hopefully I have covered everything. If you are ready to go ahead and begin the workout, gather whatever equipment you need. So again, for me, that's an exercise mat, a set of dumbbells, and my jump rope. If you don't have a jump rope, don't worry about it. Remember, you can substitute with any other cardio exercise you want while I'm jumping rope, or you can eliminate part 2 of the workout entirely and just do part 1 with me. If you don't have dumbbells, a kettlebell will also work. But again, remember, you can grab household items like water bottles or shampoo bottles filled with some sort of weight. If you're taking your workout to the beach or the park or the hiking trail, you can even just use a big heavy rock. You will be more comfortable with something soft beneath you, so an exercise mat or a yoga mat is ideal. But if you do not have an exercise mat or a yoga mat, a towel should suffice. And again, if you're working out on a carpeted floor or on grass, you may not need anything at all. And then pause the video, go get dressed, meet me right back here. We're going to start with a quick little 5-minute warm up, and then we'll get right into part 1 of the workout. So as soon as you're ready, let's get started with our 5-minute warm up. You're going to begin by just allowing your head to fall towards one shoulder. Place your hand on top of your head and just rest it there. Your arms should be completely relaxed. You're not pulling your ear down towards your shoulder. You're just allowing gravity to do all the work of gently stretching the opposite side of your neck by simply using the weight of your arm to do so. So now we're going to switch sides. Allow your head to fall towards the opposite shoulder. Place your hand on top of your head and just rest it there. Make sure your arm is completely relaxed. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed as well. They should be down, away from your ears. Next, we're going to do some head rolls. So you're going to start by allowing your chin to fall first towards your chest, and then towards the opposite shoulder and back. And each time you roll your head from one shoulder to the other, just start feeling your head getting heavier and heavier. Allow your range of motion to increase until eventually your entire torso is just kind of spilling in front of you. Your arms should be nice and loose like a rag doll. Next, we're going to do some shoulder rolls. So it doesn't matter if you want to roll your shoulders towards the back or towards the front, just to make sure you're exploring your full range of motion here. So think about making the circles as big as you possibly can. Next, we're going to do arm circles, but we're going to start small with our arm circles. So extend your arms straight out to the sides, and now start by making small circles, either towards the front or towards the back, it doesn't matter. But gradually, as the interval progresses, you're going to start making your circles bigger and bigger until finally you are making the circles as big as you possibly can. Really explore your full range of motion here. Now step your feet out so that they're a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Bend the knees and sweep your arms in front of you, and as you straighten your legs, you're reaching up as high as you can towards the ceiling. And each time you bend your knees, allow your range of motion to increase little by little, sinking deeper and deeper into that squat. Now keep your feet planted right where they are. Again, they should be wider than shoulder width apart. We're just going to lunge side to side, nice and easy. And now add the arms. So now with each lunge, I'm just reaching my arm across my body. You should feel like you're trying to throw your arm across the room. Next, we're just going to march in place. So you're going to step your feet in and march. Knees are low to start, but as the interval progresses, you're going to start gradually driving your knees up higher and higher towards your chest until finally you're driving your knees up as high as you possibly can towards your chest. Really get them up there, feel a nice little stretch in your glutes. And now we're just gonna jog in place. Same thing, knees are low to start, but as the interval progresses, you're just gonna start driving your knees up, higher and higher towards your chest, until finally you're driving your knees up as high as you possibly can towards your chest. Next is booty kicks, so keep jogging, but now with each step, you're going to bring your heel behind you. Really try to kick yourself in the booty cheek with your heel. For this next one, if you struggle with balance, you can hold onto the wall or a chair for support. If not, hands on the hips is fine. You're going to transfer your weight into one foot, pick up the other foot, and just swing the leg front and back. Nice and loose. I'm just waking up those hip flexors. Now we're gonna do this same thing on the other side. So you're gonna put this foot down, transfer your weight, pick up the opposite foot, swing the leg front and back. You can start low, and then as the interval progresses, if it feels comfortable, you can start expanding your range of motion, swinging that leg higher and higher. Now put this foot down, transfer your weight again, pick up the opposite foot, extend the leg straight out in front of you, and then bring the leg around and behind. Each time you make this little semicircle, you're lifting your leg higher and higher. And now we're gonna finish with 2 hip circles. So drive the knee up towards your chest, use your hand to guide it around. Other side, extend the opposite leg out in front, bringing the leg around and behind, lifting that leg higher and higher each time you make the semicircle. And now 2 hip circles. Drive the knee up towards your chest. Use your hand to guide it around. Finishing with a hamstring stretch, feet wide apart, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Keep your back as flat as you can coming into this stretch. It's going to help you isolate your hamstrings more effectively. So if you would like to use the arm of your couch or a chair or the wall to assist you, it can make it makes it a lot easier to keep your back flat while coming into this stretch. Probably make it more comfortable, and it just can make that stretch a lot more accessible for you. But that's it. That is our little 5-minute warm up. So let's go ahead and get right into part 1 of the workout. This is our 15-minute AMRAP. So I have my timer set to count down 15 minutes. I'm starting my timer in 3, 2, 1. This is just a 10-second rest interval. So we have a few seconds to get ready and we don't lose anything off of our first work interval. We're starting with our counterweight squat plus an overhead arm raise. So counterweight squat, now lift the weight up overhead, return to your starting position. We're doing 5 reps of this exercise. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, abs. So coming down onto the mat, on your back. Weight is overhead, legs are extended straight. Now you're gonna do a reverse crunch with a lateral arm raise, or a lap pull, I should say. That's what people call this. But it's pretty much the same thing as what we were doing with our overhead arm raise with our squats. So that's 3, 4, and 5. We're doing 10 reps of this exercise. So crunch the knees in towards your chest as you bring the weight up overhead and then return to your starting position. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, sit up with a bicep curl. So starting with your weight down by your hips, you're going to sit up, and as you sit up, you're curling the weight up towards your chest, then return to your starting position. So sit up with a bicep curl, and then return to your starting position. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to 15. With each new exercise in the circuit, we're adding 5 reps. That's 8, 9, and 10. 5 more. 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now, flip over for your plank exercise. I'm going to be moving my dumbbell from side to side. So starting with my dumbbell on one side of my mat, I'm going to come up into a plank, and then I'm going to reach across, pick up the dumbbell, move it to the other side, and now repeat, move the dumbbell back towards the side it started on. That's 2 reps, 3, 4, 5, we're going to 20. That's 10, 10 more. That's 20. Final exercise is tricep overhead press. So we're doing 25 reps of this exercise. Press the weight up overhead. Now bend the elbows, let the weight fall behind you, hinge at the hips to press the weight back up overhead. Return to your starting position. 25 reps. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 5 more, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. So that's round 1. We're just going to see how many times we can complete that circuit before our 15 minutes is up. We've already used almost 5 minutes. So I've talked you through everything once. Let's see if we can pick up the pace and finish at least 2 more rounds. See how far into a 4th round we can get. So as soon as you're ready, here we go. Let's start round 2 with another 5 squats. Now reverse crunch with a lat pull. 10 reps. Sit-ups with a bicep curl. 15 reps. That's 15. Now 20 reps of our lateral dumbbell pull. That's 20. So now 25 reps of our tricep overhead press. $24, $25. That's round 2. Rest if you need to, or go right into round 3 with me. Another 5 squats. Now 10 reverse crunches. If it's getting too difficult to add the lat pull, eliminate it. Just do the reverse crunches on their own, that's fine. Sit-ups. If the bicep curl is getting to be too much, eliminate it. Just keep moving. That's 10, 5 more. Plank. $15 reps of whatever plank exercise you're doing. Or no, I lied, 20 reps. That's 20. 25. tricep overhead presses. It's 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's round 3. Let's start round 4. We won't be able to finish it. Let's just see how far we can get. 5 squats. 2, 3, 4, and 5. We still have 2 minutes left. Let's push. Get as deep into this 4th round as we can. 10 reverse crunches. That's 5. And 10. Right into sit-ups if you can. 15 reps. It's 10. And 15. About 30 seconds left. Keep pushing. To 5. That's 14, and that's our 15 minutes. I'm so close to finishing this round. My official score is 14 reps of my plank exercise, but I'm resetting my timer as a stopwatch. And I'm going to see how much longer it takes me to finish this 4th round. So I'm picking up my count at 14. So that's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And 25 tricep overhead presses. And that'll be round 4. It's 15, 10 more, push. That's 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so my official score, what I was actually able to complete before my 15 minutes was up, was 3 full rounds plus 5 squats, 10 reverse crunches, 15 sit-ups, and 14 reps of my plank exercise. So then I reset my timer to stopwatch. Finishing that 4th round took me an additional 1 minute and 11 seconds. So what that means is that the next time I do this workout, I will have 2 goals. My first goal will be to complete more reps within that 15-minute window than I did today. So my goal will be to complete 3 full rounds plus at least up to 15 reps of my plank exercise. My secondary goal would be to see if I can finish 4 full rounds before my 15 minutes is up. But if I'm not able to do that, then my goal will be to complete just to complete 4 full rounds in less than 16 minutes and 11 seconds, because that's how long it took me to complete 4 full rounds today. And I think I can definitely do that the next time I do this workout, because for rounds 2 through 4, I picked up my pace a lot. Round 1, I was going a little slower because I was explaining and demonstrating everything and talking us through the exercises. But if I'm not making a video, I don't need to do that. So I definitely think that the next time I do this workout, it will be a very realistic goal for me to complete 4 full rounds before my 15 minutes are up. So now, if you are only doing part 1 with me, go ahead and use the chapter markers to skip ahead to the bonus burpee. Make sure you do your bonus burpee with me, because remember, the workout is not officially complete until you have done your bonus burpee. So use the chapter markers to skip ahead to the bonus burpee, and then stick around, do a quick little cool down with me, and then you can go ahead and have your shower, eat some lunch, and get on with the rest of your day. If you are sticking around to do part 2 with me, you want to keep this rest break in between parts 1 and 2 as short as possible. So I'm just going to take a minute to reset everything. If you want to, while I'm resetting, if you don't need to reset things and move things around, if you're not making a video, then you can just use this time to towel off, get a sip of water, and once you feel that your breathing has normalized a little bit and your heart rate has come down to where you want it to be, and you're ready to go ahead and start part 2 with me, then let's start part 2. If you need a longer rest break so that you can towel off and get a sip of water, if you want your heart rate to come down a little bit more, if you want to give your breathing a chance to normalize a little bit more, pause the video and come back whenever you are ready. I'm going to go ahead and get right into part 2. So I have my timer set as a stopwatch. I'm going to time this. You don't need to time it if you don't want to. My goal would be to, in an ideal world, my goal would be to finish this part 2 in under 30 minutes. I don't think there's any way in HE double hockey sticks that I can do this in under 30 minutes today, but I'm just going to try to keep it as close to 30 minutes as I can. Remember, just do your best, let your best be good enough, and make sure that you are not sacrificing your form for speed. So setting an ambitious time goal is a great idea, but make sure you're not allowing your form to get sloppy because you're chasing an ambitious time goal. Always more effective and safer to slow down and do your reps with excellent form. So please be smart, be safe, use your common sense. Listen to your body, mind your form. Do not sacrifice your form for speed. I also want to say this now before we begin so I don't have to take time out of the workout to say it. We're doing sets of 200 with the jump rope, so remember, any style of jump rope you want to do is fine. We're just counting 200 revolutions of the rope. If you trip over your jump rope, you do not have to go back and start the whole set over. Just take a deep breath, let it go, and get right back into it. Pick up your count wherever you left off, okay? We would be out here all day if I did that. So you'll definitely be watching me trip over my jump rope quite a bit, probably. It's fine. I'm going to do my best to not let the frustration of tripping over my jump rope dictate my mindset moving forward, because that's just going to sabotage the rest of my workout. So I'm going to just take a deep breath and get right back into it. If I trip over my jump rope, I'll pick up where I left off, okay? So as soon as you're ready, here we go. If you still need a longer rest break, pause the video, come back when you're ready. I am starting my timer in 3, 2, 1, and go. So we are starting with 2 sets of 200 with the jump rope. So you're going to count 200 revolutions of the jump rope, So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, that's 100. All right, well, that's 290. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that is 200. That was more startling than anything else. So that was my first set of 200. Now I'm just going to do one more set of 200. So I want to keep my rest breaks in between sets as short as I can. So after getting through this first round, I'm going to zip my lip and hopefully be able to pick up the pace a little bit. But all we're going to do is just repeat that, another set of 200 with the jump rope, and then we're going to move on to our espressos. And that's it, that's part 2. We're just going to do 5 rounds of that. Okay, so one more deep breath. Here we go, we're going to do a second set of 200 with the jump rope. It's 100. And that's 200. So that took me just under 4 minutes. So like I said, what did I say? Each cardio section was going to take like 3 to 5 minutes, something like that. That took me almost exactly 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So again, 3 to 5 minutes of any kind of cardio exercise you want to do is fine if you don't have a jump rope. So now we're just going to do 10 espressos. I'll talk us through the first, probably just the first rep, because I need to conserve some energy, because these are tough. Sets of 10 are tough. And if you watched the tutorial, you already have all the details. So just to refresh your memory of how all the components fit together. When you're ready, here we go. 10 espressos. So weights down, jumper step the feet back, push up on the dumbbells, 2 plank rows, 1 on each side. Now jump or step the feet in, stand, hammer curl, overhead press. That's 1 rep. We're going to do 9 more. Do your best. And 6, 4 more. 7, 3 more. 8, 2 more. That's 9. Last one. That's 10. That's round 1. We're doing 5 rounds. I'm doing 5 rounds. You can do fewer rounds if 5 is too many. You can do smaller sets of jump rope, smaller sets of espressos. You do 1 set of jump rope instead of 2. Okay, whatever's going to work for you. But I'm going to do 4 more rounds just like that. Now, round 1 took me 7 minutes. So if I were to stay on that pace, this part 2 would take me 35 minutes. I'm not going to be able to stay on that pace. So again, I'm just going to keep it as close to 30 minutes as I can. If I could finish in under 35 minutes, I will be ecstatic, over the moon, happier than I was when the Knicks won the championship. So you know what we're doing now. I do want to chase this time goal. I want to keep it as close to 30 minutes as I can. So I need to conserve my energy. I'm going to stop talking. You know exactly what we're doing. I'm going to zip it. I'm going to keep my head down, and I'm just going to focus on completing these last 4 rounds as quickly as I can without sacrificing my form. So make sure you are going at your own pace. Make sure you're minding your form. Do not sacrifice your form for speed. When you're ready, here we go. Round 2. So 2 more sets of 200 with the jump rope. tripped on rep 198. So I'm just gonna add 2 revolutions to my second set of 200. Espressos when you're ready. Last round, 2. When you're ready, let's start round 3. Another 2 sets of 200. There. Believe it or not, we've already completed 1,000 revolutions with the jump rope. We still have to do another 1,000. Over on the back half. Why does I feel like it was only 100? I think that was only 100. There's a slim chance that I did 300 revolutions, but felt like that second set was too easy and it seems to go by really fast, so I think I only did 100 reps. My mind was wandering because I was reworking this workout in my head. You might see another version of this workout coming very soon. But I need to stop writing workouts in my head and focus on what I'm doing. So when you're ready, here we go, another 10 espressos. That's 8. Just 2 more. That's 9. Last one. That's 10. That's round 3. Two more rounds. Again, I tripped on rep number 198. So I'll do this. 99, 200. But that seems kind of silly, so I'm just gonna do what I did earlier and tack on an extra like 10 reps or so to my next set. But technically I did 200 reps, I guess. All right. Halfway done with round 4. Just 10 espressos. And then we're on to our 5th and final round. That's 8. That's 9. Last one. We're just hitting the 30-minute mark right now. Just as we're finishing our final rep of round 4. So this is our final round. I want to push. I am chasing that time goal, but I feel like I have a better chance of stringing together 2 relatively clean sets of jump rope if I just take a few extra seconds to rest before I start round 5. All right, when you're ready, this is our 5th and final round. So our final 2 sets of 200 with the jump rope. extra. Just to make up for that trip at the end of the previous set. You guys, we've done 1,900 revolutions, or 1,800 revolutions. Final 200 revolutions of the rope. Let's push. Minutes with just these final 10 reps to go. Of course, I'm very fatigued, so it's going to be 10 tough final reps, but I'm actually pretty happy with the pace that I've been maintaining since round one. So when you're ready, let's finish up with our final 10 espressos. that was part 2. Part 1 was short, but it was also really tough. It was super intense. Not to mention, it was pretty cool earlier, like 2 hours ago when I came out here and started filming, but it's starting to get really hot now. And I was pushing myself really, really hard in that second half. So it ended up taking me a total of 38 minutes and 14 seconds to complete part 2. I'm fine with that. Like I said, in my wildest dreams, I would have loved to finish it in under 30 minutes, but like I told you before we even started the workout, I don't even know if it's physically possible to do that in under 30 minutes. Even if you're in super phenomenal shape, it's gonna take you at least almost 30 minutes, and I'm not in super phenomenal shape, so I was just looking to keep it as close to 30 minutes as I could. Round 1 took me 7 minutes, so that gave me a little bit clearer goal. And honestly, I was gonna be happy if I finished it in between 35 and 40 minutes, and I did that. I finished it in 38 minutes and 14 seconds. So I am more than happy with that. The most important thing is that I got it done. So I feel ecstatic about that. We are not quite finished yet. Remember, no workout of mine is ever complete until we have done our bonus burpee. So we have just 1 rep left to go, but first, whenever I do a workout that incorporates jump rope, in addition to my bonus burpee, I also like to do a bonus set of 100 with the jump rope. The bonus burpee is mandatory. You must do your bonus burpee, and your bonus burpee must be the last thing that you do. The workout is not complete until you have done it. But this bonus set of jump rope is completely optional. So if you do not want to do the bonus set of jump rope, that's fine. Take another minute to breathe. Let your heart rate come down a little bit. Allow your breathing to normalize a little bit. Move around a little. And cheer me on while I'm doing my bonus set of 100. Let's hope I can get through it without tripping over Rebecca. If you would like to join me for this bonus set of 100 with the jump rope, again, any style of jump rope you want to do is fine. We are just counting 100 revolutions of the jump rope. So as soon as you're ready, here we go. So you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and there's 100. Feels like a breeze, doesn't it? After getting used to doing back-to-back sets of 200. 100 revolutions is nothing. All right. So that's our little bonus set of jump rope. And now, at long last, we have just 1 rep to go. Let's go ahead and do our bonus burpee together. And then the workout will be officially complete. So as soon as you're ready, here we go. This is our final rep of the day. All right, with that, the workout is now officially complete. So let's just do a quick cool down together. You want to make sure you keep moving while you allow your heart rate to come down a little bit and while you allow your breathing to normalize. So just pace around back and forth, keep moving. Maybe shake out the legs a little bit, shake out the arms. Let's do a quick shoulder stretch. Bring one arm across your body, use your other arm to pull it in close to your chest. Make sure that your straight arm is completely relaxed and make sure your shoulder is relaxed. If your shoulder is tense and hunched up by your ear, you're not going to be able to stretch it effectively. So relax the arm, relax the shoulders, feel that nice stretch in your shoulders. Keep moving. You can see I'm just kind of shifting my weight from foot to foot, shaking out the legs a little bit. If you're still breathing really heavily, if your heart rate is still elevated, it might feel better to actually pace back and forth. Just keep moving, shake it out. Let's get the other shoulder. So bring your opposite arm across your body, use your other arm to pull it in close to your chest. Make sure your straight arm is completely relaxed. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. They should be down, away from your ears. Keep moving. So again, you can pace back and forth, shake out the legs. You can shift your weight from foot to foot, but keep moving and keep focusing on slowing down your breathing. So you do that by inhaling all the way down to your belly button. Every time you inhale, I want you to focus on really feeling your diaphragm being pulled down. Fill up your entire torso with air. So your rib cage is going to physically expand as you inhale. Feel that diaphragm being pulled down, and I want you to visualize filling up your entire torso with air, and then use your diaphragm to slowly control the air as you exhale. Let's do a tricep stretch next. We worked our triceps quite a bit today, actually. So bend one elbow, place your hand on the elbow, and gently pull your elbow towards the opposite shoulder. As you're doing this, make sure that the fingers on your free hand are pointing straight down at the ground. So you want to avoid having your free hand hanging out up here somewhere by your shoulder. So point those fingers straight down at the ground as you gently pull your elbow towards the opposite shoulder. Keep moving. Shift your weight from foot to foot. Shake out the legs. Pace, whatever feels good to you. Keep moving and keep focusing on slowing down your breathing. Shake out the arms. Let's get the other side. So bending your other arm, place your hand on the elbow. Gently pull your elbow towards the opposite shoulder. Fingers on your free hand are pointing straight down at the ground. Feel that nice stretch in your triceps. Keep moving. Keep focusing on slowing down your breathing. So let's take a couple more nice deep breaths here. As you inhale, feel your diaphragm being pulled down. Inhale all the way down to your belly button. Like you're filling your entire torso with air. And then use your diaphragm to slowly control the air as you exhale. And come out. Shake out the arms. We're going to finish with a quad stretch. So if you struggle with balance, you can hold onto the wall or some other strong, sturdy, stable, elevated surface for support, maybe your kitchen counter, dining room table, or the arm of your couch. You're going to bend one knee, bring the foot behind you, reach back and grab a hold of the top of your foot with the hand that's on the same side if you're holding onto something for support. If you are not holding on to anything for support, you can go ahead and reach back, grab a hold of the top of your foot with both hands, and now press your heel into your booty cheek. As you're doing that, I want you to tilt your pelvis forward. So feel like you're kind of tucking your booty underneath you. Imagine trying to touch your spine with your belly button. As soon as you combine both of those two elements, you should feel that stretch intensify in your quads as you isolate them more effectively. But I also want you to feel that stretch extend all the way up to your hip flexors. So make sure you're pushing your, tilting your pelvis forward. Come out, shake out the legs. Let's get the other side. So bending your opposite knee, bring the foot behind you, reach back and grab a hold of the top of your foot with the hand that's on the same side if you're holding on to something for support. And again, if you're not holding on to anything for support, you can go ahead and reach back, grab a hold of the top of your foot with both hands, press your heel into your booty cheek, and as you're doing that, tilt your pelvis forward. Tuck that booty underneath you. You want to suck your belly button all the way back towards your spine. So make sure you're doing both of those two things at once. As you're tilting your pelvis forward, make sure you're continuing to actively press your heel into your booty cheek. And as you're pressing your heel into your booty cheek, make sure you're continuing to tilt your pelvis forward. Feel that nice stretch in your quads. Feel that stretch extend all the way up to your hip flexors. One more nice deep breath here, inhaling all the way down to your belly button. Slow, controlled exhale and come out. And one last time, shake out the legs, shake out the wrists, shake out the arms, swing the arms a little bit, and that's it. And that is our little cool down. So if you find that you are still breathing heavily, if your heart rate is still elevated, that's fine. Just take a few more minutes to pace around. You can do a little more light stretching if you want. That's a great idea. Just remember that this little bit of light stretching that we do during the cool down does not take the place of a proper stretching routine. So it's still really important to make sure that you're taking a good 15 or 20 minutes every single day if you can to stretch. It is going to go a long way towards helping to alleviate any muscle soreness that you might be experiencing after the workouts. It is also going to help reduce your risk of injury moving forward. And those are both really important to help keep you on track with making daily exercise a part of your routine, because if you're so sore the day after the workout that you can't move, it's going to be really hard to find the motivation to do a workout that day. And if you become injured, then you're going to have to take a few days to recover. So if you're working on building momentum and making daily exercise a part of your routine, you want to do everything you can to stack the deck in your favor. So you're much more likely to make that happen if you can avoid injury and if you can avoid muscle soreness. So taking the time to stretch after the workout is really going to help to alleviate any muscle soreness, and it's going to help reduce your risk of injury moving forward. Of course, taking the time to stretch every day is also going to improve your flexibility, and flexibility is a really important aspect of your overall fitness level that, in my opinion, tends to be overlooked sometimes, and a lot of people undervalue it, but it's really important. So if you have time to do your stretching right now, immediately after the workout is always going to be the most efficient and the most effective time to get your stretching done, because your muscles are already nice and warm from the workout. But if you do not have time to stretch right now, that's fine. It doesn't really matter what time of day you do your stretching, just as long as you're getting it done. But please be safe. So if you do put off your stretching until later on in the day, that's fine, but it means that your muscles will have gotten cold again. So you will need to take a few minutes to warm them back up before jumping into your stretching routine. You never want to start stretching with cold muscles, because your muscles need to be warm in order for them to be pliable so that you can stretch them safely and effectively. But that's it. That is all I have for you today. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I actually really loved this workout. I thought it was really challenging. It was definitely on the longer side and it was super tough, but I thought it was really dynamic. I like this combination of exercises, and I feel great that I got it done. So I actually loved this workout. I hope you enjoyed it as well. If you did this workout with me today, thank you so much. Please let me know what you thought of it and how you did. Let me know if you did just one, if you just did part two, or if you did both parts with me. Let me know if you did them the same way I did, or if you made any changes or modifications. I'm always interested to hear how you guys are taking these workouts and kind of making them your own. So if you did the workout with me, just let me know how you did it, let me know what you thought of it, and let me know how you did with it. Let me know how long it took you. Thank you to everyone who has been working out with me lately. And even if you're not doing the workouts with me, thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for liking and sharing the videos. You guys, thank you so much for all of your wonderful and supportive and engaging comments. It truly does mean the world to me. You have no idea. Thank you to all of my new subscribers. And if you are not subscribed already, please subscribe, hit the subscribe button. And of course, a great big thank you to those of you who have been subscribed to my channel for years. Please know that I appreciate you all so very much. One final reminder that if anything was unclear about the format of today's workout and how everything fits together, if you have any questions about how you can modify the format to customize it in order to accommodate your strength or your level of fitness or your access to equipment or any time constraints you may have, if you have questions about any of the exercises that we were doing today, if you have any doubts at all about how to do these exercises with the correct form, or if you need any further help with equipment-free substitutions or beginner modifications beyond what I have already provided, I am always here to help. So please, please, please ask questions if you have them. And that is going to do it for today. But before I say goodbye, I just have to say one final thank you to those of you who have been watching the videos all the way until the end and commenting with the secret code phrase of the day. So before I say goodbye, I will give you today's secret code phrase of the day. It is Geology Rocks. So if you are still watching this video, hello, thank you for watching all the way until the end. Please let me know that someone is still watching by going down to the comment section and leaving me a comment that says Geology Rocks. That is going to do it for today. I will see you all next time. Bye.